Greetings everyone, I am Dr. Wolf and I just saw Equestria Girls Rollercoaster of Friendship. And yeah, this one kinda snuck up on us. I don't remember seeing any promotions for this. I don't really see any announcements for this. It was kind of a sudden, oh hey, there's a new special. Okay, yeah, let's go give it a watch. It would have been nice to have some kind of heads up, but alright, here it is anyways. This one focuses all around an amusement park and a character known as Vignette Valencia, and some magic that gets into her phone where she can suddenly change the world around her when she doesn't like what she sees. She has this sort of idea that her presence that she's created online has shifted her worldview. And yeah, there's a lot of commentary you can get out of that kind of setup. And I believe that that was the intention going into this. And I believe that in part, the writers actually did bring up some interesting points. But I'm not sure they took this idea quite as far as they could have. Because, yeah, watching the first half of this, I was kind of intrigued about where they could go with this. Especially with this, what do they call it, snap gap? Yeah, they're basically trying to talk about the real world Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and how a lot of people today are focused on online popularity, getting views and likes, and it's all about how many people can take a look at what you're doing on a daily basis. As something as simple as a selfie is suddenly more important than what you're actually doing with your day. And I wish that this special could have spent more time getting into that kind of subject, because like I said, there's some interesting setup and some partial commentary, but not near enough exploration as I was hoping they would. Getting further into the plot, this Vignette, she hires Rarity to be this costume designer for this parade, and it's very last minute, trying to put everything together in one day. Of course, that could never happen in real life, but hey, this is cartoon. We're not supposed to be questioning about things that are that much of a nitpick. It's an excuse to be in an amusement park, and yeah, it's a new setting, and yeah, it can make things a little bit different from being in a high school, so I can appreciate that. I also appreciate that this story is not focused on, say, Sunset or Twilight like so many other Equestria Girls specials have been in the past. Instead, this is more about Applejack and Rarity, and it feels much more like a regular episode of My Little Pony. And on the one hand, it's much more engaging to change things up a bit, where pretty much every movie and special is making Sunset or Twilight the main focus. I like the fact that they're shifting the spotlight. And yeah, these are fun characters, these are interesting characters, and I like seeing more interesting dynamics between them. It does put Sunset and Twilight in the background for a bit, but even then, they still have some interesting moments, and I'll get to that later. I wish they could have had more moments between Rarity and Applejack that actually made sense for their relationship, because in order to make the plot work, in order to make the conflict work, in order to have that third act moment where, oh, everybody's down in the dumps and oh, they have to have this big fight, you have to have that point where Applejack says, "You're not special." It really feels like they took that a bit too far. For how long these characters have known each other, how much they've depended on each other, I don't know, it felt just a teeny bit forced. I know that it was essential for the plot. I know that it was kind of necessary in order for everyone to be separated, in order for it was just Rarity and Applejack to kind of save the day. But it's not that fun to watch. But what was fun to watch, I did particularly find it interesting when, first of all, Flim and Flam show up running a carnival game. That's an excellent use of their character. And then Twilight thinking that she knows exactly how to win this game, despite the fact that Sunset tells her right off the bat that the game is rigged. It's not in their favor. And yet when they get started, they really can't stop. It kind of reminds me of, say, a gambling addiction. Anyone who goes to a casino knowing full well that the odds are not in their favor, and yet, oh, they've got this unbeatable way of getting in through the system. They know something that none of these other players know, and oh, they'll find a way to beat the house. I would imagine that the two of them would go broke 7 times over if they were ever let into a casino with that kind of mindset. It's a little worrisome. But it is a bit fun to watch to see just how aggravated that Sunset can be when it's not about the parakeet anymore. And even a bit surprising that Flim and Flam are a little uncomfortable with how much that they're getting out of Sunset and Twilight, that they're saying, you know what, you just take this prize and go away for a bit. I don't know, I kind of want to see more stories about what that could turn into. But anyway, getting back to the main conflict here, I thought it was a very interesting idea, bringing up how much the world is focused on online presence more than actual friends. And the way Rarity talks about the lesson at the very end. No amount of online success is worth it without my real life friends to share in it. That's actually pretty poignant. I wish that more people would understand that all this effort they're putting into building an online audience or trying to get views and likes and favorites and this big following on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or whatever, it does not replace real life. And I really wish that this special could have gone much deeper into that subject. They touch on it in parts, and the way that Vignette portrays her actions throughout this special, it's kind of an interesting warning to anyone out there about what could happen to you if you kind of view the world through just your online presence. You kind of just block out real life and decide, I don't care what this looks like here. I want to use what I think online life should be like as kind of a substitute. Because more and more it becomes a bit of a danger in today's society that people keep wanting to escape to that online fantasy. And yes, I will call it a bit of a fantasy, because as much as you look at people writing comments and watching people making videos, in part, it's not really interacting with a person when you are looking at just words on a screen. And it kind of creates this facade that I know in parts, Vignette is kind of over-exaggerating things, but like so many other lessons in My Little Pony, they kind of over-exaggerate things in order to help show the lesson of, you know, if you keep going down this path, this is a bit of a hint of where this could lead. And I wish that this special could go deeper into that. Instead, we have a lot of cutting back and forth to say Fluttershy getting scared of roller coasters, and it turns out that Rainbow is the one who ends up getting scared of heights and getting scared of thrills and not sure if she wants to get back up onto that thing again. It's a bit surprising, but it doesn't really add anything to the plot itself. I did appreciate that the moment she was sucked into the phone, she immediately says, "We're in a magic phone, aren't we? Are you gonna eat that stress salad?" That actually gave me a good chuckle. What didn't really work for me is the fact that later on, it turns out they weren't in a phone at all in the first place. They were just oh wait, this is an all-white room. There was a door the entire time, and no one had ever even attempted to try and find a way out other than, oh, I guess we're stuck. On the other hand, maybe it's the fact that they have been in this situation before, and the fact that they're so used to magical devices that makes them think, oh, this must be another thing where we can't get out, so why bother trying? So it's kind of a hit and miss thing. I'm kind of frustrated that, wait, that's what happened? Why did you do that? And on the other hand, just like, no, actually, it kind of makes sense. Maybe this is exactly how they would react. So, a bit torn on how I feel about that. All in all, I think this is a special that, in the end, it feels like missed opportunity. It has some fun moments, it has some interesting interactions, it has a very impressive setup for a conflict, but only goes partially there on exploring it. I wish they could have gone so much further because there's a lot you can get into on this kind of subject. There's so much more you can get into on this kind of subject. I like the lesson they were going for. I just wish they could have gone further in presenting it. But what did you guys think? For a bit of a surprise of out of nowhere Equestria Girls special, I think this was a nice thing to spend time on. What did you think about this conflict that they were setting up as a person who spends all their time focused on their online audience and completely putting aside the real world because of it? What else do you think they could have done in order to help present that kind of lesson in this special? Do you have any favorite moments between these characters? Like, say, again, I think Sunset and Twilight might have a bit of a gambling problem. But in the meantime, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.